Would choose the other path. Unfortunately, it's not the path less traveled on this planet. It's the path that is more easily taken, and the one that pursues excess of power, pleasure, prestige, and possessions. This is why we are going to have division in 2024, because those decisions, they're on the table. This decision is ultimately about respecting ourselves and respecting others. This is about us being powerful enough to not care what others say, but to take others by what they do. This election is about making sure that we make the right decisions, about making the right divisions. This election is about casting a ballot for your weekly whiskey. This election is like ensuring you're on board with biblical implications of the future. So when we come back, we'll give you what you need to know about this election and making sure that whichever side you fall on, it's on the side of your implicit bias.
Have an honest injury? Call an honest attorney. I'm Chris Castro of Castro Law Firm, and I handle a broad array of injury cases involving car, truck, motorcycle, and premises liability. I pride myself on personal service with a pragmatic approach. A legitimate attorney for a legitimate need. Castro Law Firm in Lafayette, Louisiana has been helping the hurting throughout the state of Louisiana since 1992. Call me at 337-984-7677 or visit my website, castro-firm.com. LSBA filing number 2416932.
Experience Acadiana's most exclusive steakhouse, Mr. Lester's at Cypress Bayou. Make your reservation today. Space is limited. Take Highway 90 to the Baldwin exit.
Renee Girard, Acadiana certified master tobacconist, owns Piper's Haven at 3916 West Congress, right between Adrian's and Gilbo Road. How many cigars are in that humidor?
A lot.
100?
Oh, more than that.
Way more than that?
Way more than that.
It don't matter?
Thousands of cigars.
Thousands?
Thousands.
Thousands of cigars in the humidor at Piper's Haven. So you've got all these cigars. You've got pipes and pipe tobacco stuff.
I got pipes, pipe tobacco, cigars, cigar lighters, cigar cutters, pipe lighters, pipe stands, Lamborghini lamps, the scents. I got everything you need.
Really what you need is a great cigar, great conversation at Piper's Haven.
Yeah,
right?
And we need some cool weather because it's too hot to sit on a porch right now.
I agree, but that's okay because you got a smoking room.
Yes, we do. It's an air-conditioned smoking room with a big screen TV.
So if you need a haven from home, you've got Piper's Haven, 3916 West Congress Street, between Adrian's and Gilbo Road. Renee will help you pick out a great cigar.
The Rustic Renegade has thousands and thousands of unique men's gifts. Here's Caleb Moores.
So one of our biggest selling knives is out the front knives. An out the front knife is an automatic knife that just pops out the front. Most people think of them as a switchblade, and they don't realize the many uses that it has. It gives you a great one-handed operation use for a knife.
Why don't you come in, have a cup of coffee with us? The Rustic Renegade and therusticrenegade.com.
William S. Nacoll Jewelry has been serving the Acadiana area for over 40 years now. Loose diamonds, engagement rings, wedding sets, the most extensive in-store selection Acadiana has to offer. Waterford crystal, Swarovski crystal, and a complete Pandora jewelry shop right on the showroom floor. In-house jewelry repairs, and a friendly, knowledgeable staff to assist you. When you want bigger, better diamonds for less, when you want quality merchandise at affordable prices, shop local. Shop William S. Nacoll Jewelry, 3802 Johnson Street, Lafayette.
Hour one of Implicit Bias is brought to you by Piper's Haven, 3916 West Congress in Lafayette, Louisiana, featuring Louisiana's only certified master tobacconist, Renee Girard. Go there. He's got 553 square feet of walk-in humidor. The certified Wizard of Tobacco has everything you need. Cigars, pipes, pipe tobacco, cutters, lighters. It's all at Piper's Haven, 3916 West Congress. The Implicit Bias pledge is about to lose his pledgeship here on Implicit Bias. Why? Because Walker Griffon has not worn his pledge pin in like 2 months. Have you noticed that, Caleb?
I wasn't going to say anything. I'm trying to help him out a little bit.
No.
He
We are
said-
not helping Walker out. You have to earn the right to be a member of the crew here on Implicit Bias. We don't just give it out.
He did say that it's next to his bed and he kisses it to sleep every night.
Yeah, all right. Renee, what do you want to chime in?
Walker just grew a pair and he says, I'm a man. That's it. I ain't wearing that pledge pin no more.
Yeah. in between him saying, thank you, sir, may I have another? 6 degrees of Walker Griffon, a.k.a. Kevin Bacon. All right, I'm your host, Cavan Bordelon. This is Implicit Bias. You heard the voice of the rustic renegade, Caleb Morse. You heard the voice of Louisiana's only certified master tobacconist. He is Rene Girard. The other guy at the bar is Brian Harmon of Dupree Carrier Godshaw. So somebody, actually one of our listeners, said that we need to give you the nickname Hold Harmless. I kind of liked TMI, Brian Harmon, but Hold Harmless just kind of fits.
It flows with the last name. I'll have a mic eventually.
Yeah.
It flows with the last name and everything. You know, Brian, hold harmless.
All right, Brian, so what do you think about the nickname?
Harmon.
Because it doesn't matter. So let's go to Walker, who is also here. Walker, it's nice to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. Glad you could make it. So for those who don't know, normally we record in the evening. This particular show, we are actually recording at about noon. So it's day drinking with Implicit Bias as we sample our weekly whiskey in our weekly whiskey segment. And let's dive right in, fellas. So this one, and I'm going to actually reach over here through the mic, Gentleman's Cut Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey comes in at 92 proof. The proof on this is not going to come in and it's not going to wipe you out. The question becomes, how does it hold up? Because we are proof hounds here in the Top Secret Podcast layer. We like things that come in at 107, 110, 115. Caleb, I'm curious as to what you think. Let's talk to you first.
So I'm very impressed by this, first and foremost. I read the back label and Stephen, whatever how you pronounce it, Curry, Mr. Curry. He's part of this. He's one of the owners. I even like the name of their distilling or their company. It's called Game Changer LLC. I like what they did with it. And at 90 proof, man, this is pleasant on the nose. I got milled oats, like a fresh oatmeal out the gate, then brown sugar, and then it finishes with like grass, like nice fresh, not cut grass, but like just a summer field or a spring field of fresh grass. And then
does it have to be in a certain region? Because we know how picky you get about stuff like that.
This could be West Texas.
Are we talking about Florida? Are we talking about West
No,
Texas?
this could be
Louisiana,
West Texas grass.
Southern Arkansas.
That nice blonde golden field of West Texas grass. That's what I see.
Okay.
And then on the palate, when you roll it in the glass, it's got some legs to it. You know, it's a little viscous and it hangs onto the edge of the glass. You can see it. You can see it run down slowly. But I was surprised how thin the flavor is. And when I say thin, it doesn't really linger. So I immediately got honey, followed by orange zest.
Okay.
So I get a little orange zest out of it. Then vanilla, and then the finish, I was trying to put my finger on it, and I finally got it. Have you ever had cooked red apples?
Yes.
So I get definitely like a cooked red apple on that. Still with the skin, not just a cleaned red apple, like still with the skin.
Still with the skin.
Yeah.
Is the apple an Oregon apple or a Washington apple? Are we talking about an African swallow or a European swallow? I mean, come on.
It's got to be unladen.
Unladen. Okay.
Yeah.
Long as it's unladen.
Yeah. So I am thoroughly impressed by this. For that 92 proof, the bottle looks great. It smells really pleasant. And this is, for the time of day that we're having this is a perfect choice.
Okay. Let's go to the bar, see what the bar thinks. Brian, why don't we start with you? Because I'll be curious to feel how you understand this one, or be curious to hear how you understand this one, because you typically like stuff at a little bit lower proof level than maybe some of the other guys here in the TSPL.
I do. Y'all kind of won me over on the argument. I am enjoying some of the higher proof stuff now, but what got me into whiskey was always the lower stuff, 85, 95 proof, things like that. On the nose, I like it. I was interested to hear what you would say. I am picking up a little bit, but what I think you're describing is like a grass. I'm more of like a lumber mill. And banana, but a banana peel. I don't know why that is, but that's what I'm picking up on the nose. Now, on the taste profile, I know the front end I'm enjoying a lot. I don't care for that little lingering. I think I call it the back end. You call it the finish.
Yeah.
It's not as enjoyable as the front end. I'm usually in agreement. Everybody, when y'all taste it, I think I'm going to be a little harsher on this one than what I have been in the past on some of them. But all in all, It is a good midday drinker. It's nothing impressive to me. It's not terrible. It's not fantastic. It's somewhere right in the middle comfortably.
All right. So Renee, what about you?
Well, I don't pick up a whole bunch of flavor other than a little bit of pepper. I'm getting a pepper out of it. The aroma, no, I'm not getting it. It's okay. Just not something super impressive to me. I mean, it's a whiskey. It'll get you drunk if you drink enough of it.
Well, that is what they tend to do if you overconsume, right? As opposed to taste, as we are going to do here, which is nice to know that maybe Renee won't transform into Drunkle here on the show for this particular episode.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not much on midday drinking, so, I like the night drinking.
Look, day drinking when done correctly can be tons of fun, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. Okay, so I'm going to ask this question because there's something that I get off of this, and no one has mentioned it, and we're going to hear from Walker in just a minute to see kind of what Mikey thinks of it here in the TSPL. I am getting not a licorice flavor, but almost a licorice characteristic on the nose. I'm not getting a ton of black licorice flavor, but it is such a hint.
Yeah, that might be that bitterness I'm taking, because I'm not a big licorice fan, and it's just a little bitterness, peppery that I'm getting. That could be it right there.
It's a slight hint of it, and you don't get it right away. It's like in the middle of the scent.
Yeah.
Is where you get it.
It's in the nose. It's definitely not on the palate. On the palate, I get that brown sugar in oatmeal, not just brown sugar. Kind of when brown sugar starts to emulsify in the oatmeal, and you get that aroma off of it, where you get those milled oats, you get the sweetness, you get that little bit of dark flavor to it, that umami with it. I get that with this, but that licorice, that hint of licorice on the nose kind of jumps out at me. Walker, what about you? I saw you nodding your head over there.
Well, when I first took a sip, I got the brown sugar, but I couldn't tell what it was mixed with. And now that you said oatmeal, I get that now. Really good, smooth, definitely a day drinker. I like it a lot, though.
So as Caleb sets up the Implicit Bias Whiskey Tasting Journal, which, by the way, you can find on Amazon. You can find it and order it. It's got the full wheel on it. He sets it up and then lets it fall over across our sunglasses. That's okay. This one, I do like it, and I do get those flavors on it. I don't know how much I like it, which is going to be interesting because, like Renee said, this is not one that I think jumps out at me. It doesn't, tap dance up and down the aisle, but it's also not bad. So I'm curious to see where it falls.
I would like more of it.
Well, there's more in the bottle.
When I say more of it, like...
Which we know you're going to drink anyway.
I'm going to have more. I would like more flavor. Like if the flavors lasted longer, or maybe a little bit more aggressive flavor. It's very, very gentle.
It is.
So that's why when I say it's a good day drinker, it's very gentle, very easy to drink. I would just like more flavor, I think, out of this one. Whichever one that it wants to choose to accentuate, that's the one that I would like.
I'm almost of the opinion that if they left it a little higher proofed, it would not be as good, because I think some of those hints that we get that we don't like, I think they would be accentuated. It's almost like it would be too much.
Guess the age on this. Now, it has a range. So if you want to try to guess the age on this one.
I'm going to guess somewhere 4 to 6 years.
That's my guess as well.
Okay.
3.
5 to 7 is what they say. So I would call it 6. So y'all are right on the nose. I think with a little more maturity, you would get a lot more flavor out of this.
Fair. I could absolutely see that. And Aaron, who actually makes video happen, he doesn't have a microphone. And he, for somehow, because we asked him about a 360 camera, he has not come upon a 360 camera. I get the feeling he doesn't want people to be able to see the whole room. We're going to sort that out. Hopefully, we'll sort that out before November 5th when we bring you Implicit Ballots, because that's going to be a really, really interesting evening here in the TSPL. Speaking of interesting, let's go ahead and rate this on the Morse Whiskey Rating Code. And we've got an announcement, because we're going to play What Would You Pay? But it's the What Would You Pay Championship Belt Chain presented by Box Drop here in Lafayette. You need a mattress, call Box Drop. They can take care of you, specializing in big names at much, much more affordable prices. So let's start at the bar. Where do we rate this on the Morse Whiskey Rating Code? Is it a red? I wouldn't drink it even if it was free. Is it a yellow? I would only drink it if it was free. Is it a green? I would buy this. Or is it a blue? I would seek this out. Renee?
I'm going to have to give it a yellow. It's just,
okay.
It's drinkable, but yeah, I don't think I'm going to seek this one out. I'm not going to buy this one.
Okay.
You did, so I'm happy.
Well, look, our weekly whiskey partners provide this for us so that we can give them an honest accounting of what we think of the liquid that's in the bottle. So that is what we do. Let's go to the bar. And Brian.
I'm going to give it a yellow as well. It's a close to being a green. It's not bad. I don't want to talk anybody out of not trying it because I encourage everyone to. But just like Caleb had said, this is on its way of being a pretty tasty beverage, man. It's there. It's the back end for me that I don't enjoy. That's why I'm going to go ahead and give it a yellow instead of a green.
Okay. Walker, what about you?
Solid green. I like this a lot.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I enjoy this.
So what is it about it that specifically you enjoy? What flavor jumps out at you that you say, man, this is why I like this?
That brown sugar and like oatmeal mix. I like that a lot. I don't know. Just like the taste. It's not too heavy, strong. It's smooth. So
it's probably because of those Quaker oatmeal packets you've been opening since you were like 7 years old.
I was waiting. I had that on deck. I was waiting to say it, and you beat me to it. Man, I was right.
All right, Caleb, where do you rate this?
First, I want to know, Brian, are you a back end kind of guy? Like, I'm just curious here because you've said back end like 10 times.
I started life as a front end. I've moved to the back end.
Okay.
Suspension is where it's at. Yeah. I'm right there with y'all, man. This is a yellow.
And don't worry.
That reminds me of the story you told about how you
met my wife.
Yeah, that's right. You told that on the last episode.
And see, here's what I was going to say. Front end suspension is just as important as rear end suspension. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
All right, Caleb.
Balanced. But yeah, it's a solid yellow for me. Like, I would like more flavors, a little bit more profile out of this. I think that if they ever release a little older one, it'll be phenomenal. This is a great entry. Do yourself the justice and honor of getting this. Please go to New News or your closest whiskey sponsor for us and scoop one up. I don't know how much it costs. I'm going to tell you that right now.
We're about to play What Would You Pay for the box drop. What would you pay championship belt chain? So why don't you go ahead and throw in your guess, and then we'll go in reverse order, and we'll award the championship belt chain.
I'm going to come in at $47.
$47. Walker.
50.
50. All right. Hold harmless.
I'm not going to throw this one like I said I would last time, but I'm going to say $39.
39. Renee.
45.
45. All right. So the box drop, what would you pay? Championship belt chain goes to Caleb Morse. This is a $79 bottle at New News. Yes, if you can pass the chain so I can pass that to him.
Wait, Caleb, what'd you say?
No, wait.
Oh, no.
Walker got it.
Yeah, Walker. I thought Caleb had said 50. It was Walker who said 50.
Sorry, I got all excited.
Which means that we're going to have to hand the championship belt chain all the way over to Walker.
The line.
And Walker gets to wear the belt chain for the rest of the show, which is going to be tons of fun because let me tell you, election season is always fun here on Implicit Bias. And what we've got coming your way on November 5th, you are not going to want to miss it. So we've got some big things in between now and then. We've got this show where we're announcing implicit ballots. Next week, we are back at Mr. Lester Steakhouse, Cypress Bayou Casino. Trust me, you want to make your reservations now. Things are starting to get really tight as they get into the holiday season. So if you don't get your reservations now, you might miss out. And then the following week, we are going to have on the Tuesday night implicit ballots. We'll give it 48 hours, see if we get all the results in. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, which they should be in because entire countries can get theirs in. And so anyway, we'll get to that later in the show. But we'll then do that Saturday's episode of Implicit Bias that Thursday night, which will drop on Saturday. Should be tons of fun in the Implicit Bias universe because implicit ballots, I'm going to warn everybody, it's going to be a live stream, which means that there is no editing. No, I know.
Look, it doesn't happen all the time, but I try to raise my hand.
No, you don't.
Caleb, whenever Caleb does something like that and has to drop an F-bomb, I say has to drop an F-bomb like it's an imperative. No, decides that he would like to add one for some spice.
It brings in emphasis.
He normally does this. He's like, hey, Walker, I'm going to curse, and then throws his hand up. Yeah. It's like, you're late here, bud.
I think Caleb's going to just throw in extras just because he can.
Maybe I'll get some yellow flags.
Oh yeah, get some of the referee flags. You just throw the.
You know what we should get? I wish they had like a ballot challenge card, because what we would do is we'd just get ballot challenge cards and start throwing them out for Caleb.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That would be fantastic.
Or like in soccer, the yellow card, red card type thing.
No, I don't know. I don't play soccer.
No, you don't even watch it?
No. Why?
Oh, wait.
Why would I watch soccer?
That was the other guy that used to do that.
That was Sam. Rest in peace. Anyway, that is not something. No, not a soccer guy. Grew up playing football when you could take multiple shots to the head. The coach would say, you just got your bell rung. Go back in. And that's what you did, which maybe explains a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe it explains an awful lot. But it's going to be a fun couple of weeks here on Implicit Bias because, man, we are going to be busy. We're going to have lots of stuff out there, and we'll kind of tell you how that live stream is going to work. We are actually working on the picture-in-picture technology, so you will see whatever we are watching here in the TSPL. You will then also have us switch in between everything, and it's going to be live, full-on reaction as we get into the results. We're going to start at 8:30 p.m. Why? Because we're Central Time Zone. I know that a lot of states on Eastern Time Zone will have or should have their results coming in by 8:30, 9 o'clock. We're already told, and we're going to talk about this on the show, that, man, some states are saying, yeah, we might not know for a couple of days, which is a whole nother point of, as Caleb would say, emphasis. So we have 1 minute because Walker's giving me the finger from the corner, which we're going to give him the finger back, but we're going to be nice about it. We're not going to show it on camera, and we're not going to do it in a way that you'd want to see anyway. And that's okay, because we're going to come back with more Implicit Bias right after this. Your weekly whiskey segment brought to you by New News Markets, Youngsville, Scott, Milton, Maurice. Great selections, great prices. Go find the weekly whiskey you're looking for at Acadiana's favorite whiskey stop.
At Industrial Fabrication Services, we've been serving the oil, gas, agricultural, and refinery industries for 15 years. I'm owner Jonathan Broussard, and I've worked in fabrication and welding, covering a multitude of techniques, processes, and design for over 30 years. Our goal is to be personal and hands-on. Let Industrial Fabrication Services bring your project to life. Call us at 337-330-2326. or find us at ifsllc.net. Industrial Fabrication Services.
Men want to look like men. That means when it's time for a fresh cut, men go where men go. All American Barbering. Licensed barber Nick Duplashan and the staff at All American Barbering do it right. From old school haircuts to straight razor shaves to beard trim and shaping. Even boys look like men after a cut from All American Barbering. A veteran-owned business, All American Barbering is located in Broussard at 807 Albertsons Parkway, Suite B. Schedule your appointment to look like a man at their website, allamericanbarbering.com. Remember, men, when you want to look like a man, go to Broussard. Go to All American Barbering.
Experience Acadiana's most exclusive steakhouse, Mr. Lester's at Cypress Bayou. Make your reservation today. Space is limited.
Back to Cypress Bayou Casino.
Take Highway 90 to the Baldwin exit.
Hour one of Implicit Bias is brought to you by Piper's Haven, 3916 West Congress in Lafayette, Louisiana, featuring Louisiana's only certified master tobacconist, Rene Girard. Go there. He's got 553 square feet of walk-in humidor. The certified Wizard of Tobacco has everything you need. Cigars, pipes, pipe tobacco, cutters, lighters. It's all at Piper's Haven, 3916 West Congress. The division, the disinformation, it is all ramping up as we get closer to Election Day here on Implicit Bias. I'm your host, Cavan Bordelon. We have a great crew here in the Mr. Lester Steakhouse top secret podcast lair for you. You probably just saw someone snatch that bottle of whiskey off the end table. That's the Rustic Renegade, Caleb Morris. Caleb, yeah, we caught you.
Oops.
Yeah, oops. Yeah, you're so upset, aren't you?
I'm heartbroken.
Yeah, I can tell. He is the rustic renegade, Caleb Morse. At the bar, we have Louisiana's only certified master tobacconist, Renee Girard of Piper's Haven. And next to him, we have Brian Hold Harmless Harmon of Dupree Carrier Godshaw. What a fantastic crew here in the Mr. Lester's TSPL. We are sampling Gentleman's Cut. What, Caleb?
He's Triple H. Hold Harmless Harmon. Triple H.
That's it. That's it.
That one you like.
I don't want to be Triple H. No, he's not. He
No?
wasn't one of my favorites. Yeah.
Well, guess what?
That wasn't the option.
Yeah, we
I do like Hold Harmless.
we don't particularly care. You're Triple H from here on out. You are Triple H. Hopefully, you're going to do something with the God. What was his first character? Where he was supposedly the English gentleman or something like that, which we know you're not.
Don't care. Just call me Goldberg.
Nope. Nope. You got too much hair.
You
to be
need
Goldberg.
traps for that, bro.
Yep. All right. So we said the division, the divisiveness, the disinformation, it is all ramping up as we get closer to the election. And this is a story. Please don't believe us on this one. It's fantastic. But maybe, just maybe, we will see the media held accountable for what they have done to the American public in the last 30, 40 years. But really, what spurned it all was this election. And this is why the division, the divisiveness is good. Because either you pick the side that is doing right, or you pick the side that is saying the right things, but not doing it. So let me explain, give some background on this before we open this up to the rest of the crew. Kamala Harris did very few interviews leading up to, 10 days before the election when this airs. She did her best to stay out of the way of the cameras and people who would question her about policy and anything else. One of the interviews that she agreed to do was with CBS's 60 Minutes. And 60 Minutes, thanks to everyone out there doing their own research on the internet, looking this up, they figured out that 60 Minutes edited some of Harris's answers to make them sound more cognizant. And they didn't just make small edits. They weren't editing out ums and ahs and things of that nature. They weren't editing for time. They were actually full-on editing content. Literally to the point where we now know that an answer that she gave to a question was changed with the answer that she gave to a different question. And the presidential candidate on the other side of the aisle said, CBS should be held accountable for this, to the point that the FCC should pull their license. The Federal Communications Commission, who oversees this type of activity, should pull their license and pull, I believe CBS is the oldest legacy broadcast company in existence in the United States. This could be the end of CBS.
Well, if the checker checks, the doer does, right? Meaning if you know someone's going to come behind you and hold you accountable, you do the right thing at all times. Not just because it's the right thing, but you know that someone's going to catch you. And here we have, the media has been unfettered, unreally regulated for I don't know how long, right? The only thing that they have restricted is free speech of Christians. I mean, we have videos of that where we have football players and other sports stars, other athletes, where they say, give thanks to God, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Oh, we lost them. And when you see this, the left came out and they said, her campaign said, well, that wasn't part of us. CBS came out and they said, well, it was just for time. We only have 41 minutes. But it was a complete change.
You know how I know? Because lying liars lie. That's how we know that CBS did a complete change, not just for time. So I agree.
Well, and look, we had our interview with CBS recently, and I was scared to death because I knew that they wouldn't give me a fair light. And I was impressed that I would say 85, 90% of what they did on us was in the correct context. But this is huge. This is massive. This would be career ending for anyone and everyone else.
Agreed. Renee?
Yeah, but you actually think that the FCC is going to do anything because they're part of the current administration who they've been supporting since the end of Trump's administration.
So actually what's interesting is what I sent to you from X, Renee, and I will try and repost some of this stuff on X. What I sent to you was an FCC commissioner who happened to be appointed by the 45th president of the United States, not the 46th. And basically, he pulled the Lee Corso and said, not so fast, my friend. We are not dismissing this. And here's why. Because now what you have is you have gross misconduct. They are not trying to edit for time. What they are doing is flat out malicious. What they are doing is borderline election interference by trying to create an answer and misinformation, true misinformation, because that wasn't what she said in answer to that question. To do what? To confuse the American voter.
Yeah, but I still don't believe that they're going to give lip service. Nothing's going to come out of it. I really doubt very seriously anything's going to come out of that.
I view this as a win, and here's why. Because people have barked about this sort of behavior before, and it's never gotten this far.
Yeah.
It's never gotten this much attention. The very fact that we are witnessing someone on the FCC saying, yeah, we need to look at this, and it's public, that's a win. Because this kind of thing has been going on really since the fairness doctrine was taken out back in Reagan's time. Because that really was the last time that anybody got a good look at, okay, what's being said about what candidate, how much airtime is being given to a particular candidate, those kind of things. So we're talking since the 80s. We're talking 40 years almost.
Yeah.
So the very fact that we're in this conversation, to me, is a big deal. And by the way, if you and your implicit bias land on the Harris side of the aisle, here's all we ask. Go look it up, number one. Number two, watch it, read it, listen to it. Number three, if you lack the intellectual integrity to admit that a major news network was attempting to help a candidate sound coherent in an answer, you can move along your merry way. We know that you're not a serious person. But if you are on the other side of this and you go watch it and you see it and you go, okay, that was bad, at least admit it. That's all we ask. Right?
Well, own it. I mean, we're supposed to own it. When we make a mistake, and if it's a mistake, own it. When you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, don't try to deny. It's, yeah, okay. You got me. I mean, that's all it is. Look, whenever Trump was talking about taxes and they were like, well, you don't pay your taxes. He goes, well, I use the loopholes that you created, close the loopholes, and I won't use them.
Right.
He owned it. And that's what we should do.
And that's really where we should all land. I'm not thrilled about the way that Donald Trump spent money like he was an immigrant to the United States who was undocumented and got a card that didn't tell him what they had to spend it on, right? I mean, he was spending money from the U.S. government like it was nothing. Like they were creating it out of thin air. Not a fan. But for the most part, the policies that he actually created a really good economy. Mm-hmm. It created a really good situation for working Americans. It was the first time that real wages, and if you don't know what real wages are, please go look it up. It's the actual purchasing power of the money that we make. It was the first time in decades that real wages went up under a president. In other words, the money that we had was worth more.
Worth more and kept in our wallets and pockets more. Because right now, that dollar you earned, it's worth probably 60 cents of what it was.
Oh, it's
less.
It's bad, maybe less. Correct. It's gotten really bad. But the whole CBS scenario, the misinformation, the disinformation, this is going on all over. And now to the point where CNN did an interview with her. And this is the crazy part. CNN, cheers. You actually asked her a couple of real questions. And we saw what the response was, even down to her having to be fact-checked by CNN.
That's what it should be.
Well, I mean,
it should be.
That's what media is supposed to do.
They're not
They're not supposed to
storytellers.
have a side. They're just supposed to present the facts and question the people that tell them erroneous facts.
Which brings us to the Brett Baer interview that Harris did end up doing. So I said Harris tried to stay away from cameras. She agreed to go do an interview at Fox. Brett Baer, the person who's doing the interview, within hours, because it was such a catastrophic failure for her. It was such a terrible faceplant for that campaign. Her campaign started accusing Fox of ambush journalism. So for those who don't know, I spent 10 years of my life as a television news reporter. It's supposed to be ambush journalism. They are supposed to ask you tough questions. That's the job of the Fourth Estate. That's what they are there for. They're not there to make you look good. And guess what? We know that they are so accustomed to getting just an under-the-table hand from the media that the minute they got 1, 2, maybe 3 tough questions, oh, no, it's not fair. Oh, shut it. You actually got asked real questions, Renee.
You mean to tell me that whenever you do an interview, you're not supposed to give the interviewee the questions ahead of time, that you're supposed to ask them and it should be a surprise to them?
It should.
How dare you?
Yeah. Caleb?
And that goes into, like, I don't believe fair exists. Because what's fair to one person is unfair to another. There is no fair. There is no balance. Life is what it is. The Bible tells us we are guaranteed pain and strife, but there is forgiveness in our Savior. And when we look at this world and what exists, it's not fair. If it was fair, we would all suffer because one man paid for our sins to forgive us of everything.
And you know what's
We have
not
all
fair?
sinned and fallen short. Yeah.
It's not fair is that he's giving you the 1-minute finger.
Right when I start preaching, too.
I know, right? We're getting into the good stuff. We'll come back. More Implicit Bias. By the way, find us on all our socials, X, Facebook, YouTube, Insta. You don't want to miss anything. You can see it all there. Your Implicit Bias.
I'm Lee Ritter with Ritter Consulting Engineers. If you're in the real estate industry or property management, you may need to take a look at us. We offer advanced drone services providing aerial photography, site surveys, and roof inspections. We also offer state-of-the-art 3D imaging for accurate and detailed floor plans and site models for your use. If you're a real estate agent looking to up your game, give us a call, 337-984-8498 or RitterConsultingEngineers.com.
How sweet it is. Gambino's Bakery of Lafayette can satisfy all of your bakery needs. Cakes, cookies, pastries, melt in your mouth pedophores, wedding cakes, and of course, the original New Orleans Dauberge cake. Family owned and operated, let Gambino's Bakery take care of all your dessert needs for your family gathering, tailgate, holiday, or any special occasion. Visit with the baking professionals in Lafayette. Find what fits your taste. Enjoy the sweet life with Gambino's Bakery of Lafayette, 3802 Johnston Street. Call them at 337-406-9066 or online at gambinos.com.
Water damage needs to be fixed the right way the first time. For water damage in Acadiana, turn to the best, ZB Environmental. Utilizing large commercial desiccant dehumidifiers, Zach Blanchard is even there for homes or businesses that have lost utilities. ZB Environmental will also rent portable drying equipment as well. For your damage assessment, call ZB Environmental at 337-247-4200 or zbenvironmental.com. That's zbenvironmental.com.
Drink Kacheri's Coffee, the official coffee of Implicit Bias. Available at La Creperie on Collie Saloon, at the Rustic Renegade, Automotive Gear on Judson Walsh and Opelousas, and the Chill House, the dessert destination in Maurice. Kacheri's Coffee, the official coffee of Implicit Bias. Hour 1 of Implicit Bias is brought to you by Piper's Haven, 3916 West Congress in Lafayette, Louisiana, featuring Louisiana's only certified master tobacconist, Rene Girard. Go there. He's got 553 square feet of walk-in humidor. The certified Wizard of Tobacco has everything you need. Cigars, pipes, pipe tobacco, cutters, lighters. It's all at Piper's Haven, 3916 West Congress. Close to the end of Hour 1 of Implicit Bias. I'm your host, Cavan Bordelon. Hour 2, always more fun as we come to you from the Mr. Lester Steakhouse, top secret podcast lair located somewhere in downtown Lafayette, Louisiana. Let me tell you the crew that we have here for you for this particular segment. Sitting in the chair like mine, he is the rustic renegade Caleb Morse.
You like that?
That, dear Lord, that shirt. That's all I'm going to say. We heard Caleb's shirt 20 minutes before he got
I like
here.
the colors, man. Like it helps me blend in.
Yeah. At the bar, we have the only certified master tobacconist in the entire state of Louisiana. He is Rene Girard of Piper's Haven. He is sitting on your right. On your left is Triple H Brian Harmon. Hold harmless Harmon. Oh, it sticks now. Triple H from Dupree Carrier Godshaw Insurance. We love him, and it's been a fantastic show so far on this particular episode. What, Renee?
So, in other words, to say his name, you'd be.
Dear Lord. Okay. That was funny.
Yeah,
ring the bell. Ring the bell. That was funny. That was good. Off
I think
camera.
that's the same thing his wife calls him. I've never met your wife. It was perfect.
Off camera, we have the Implicit Bias Pledge.
Oh, I have met your wife. Yeah.
Walker Griffon is the Implicit Bias Pledge. He's off camera. Aaron David, who actually handles all the video. Thank you, Aaron, for making us look as palatable as you make us look, because we know it ain't easy. Speaking of it ain't easy, a couple of things we got to talk about here. And one of the reasons that when I say it ain't easy, I wore an Army shirt a couple weeks ago. I'm wearing an Army West Point shirt today.
I saw that one.
And people are probably like, why is Cavan wearing all these Army shirts? I am not an Army vet. I don't want to give that impression. I don't want you to think that. But I do have family that played for West Point. And as we talk about the divisiveness in this country that's about to happen with the election, we are about to get significant divisiveness with, for the first time in over 40 years, both Army and Navy are ranked and undefeated on the season. The Army-Navy game is going to be lit this year. I'm just saying. Renee?
I was just wondering if Uncle Glenn's in town again?
Uncle Glenn is not in town.
Oh, okay.
Uncle Glenn is not in town.
He's a neat guy.
He is. He's fantastic. And kudos, cheers to all those players from the service academies that we like seeing ranked. Because, look, we love our LSU Tigers. We love our UL Raging Cajuns. We love our Warhawks up in Monroe. But those service academies, they're a little different breed. They're usually not ranked, and it's great to see a ranked season for those two academies. All right, so we always tell you that the final segments of each hour, we always try to have something a little lighthearted. This is not necessarily lighthearted. Oh, but the P. Diddler is going to be back in the news again because Puff Diddy Dum had done it. And this time, you can't tell me he didn't know that his prison conversations were being recorded.
No, he has to know. That's why he was speaking in code.
Okay, so we did our best to verify this. It appears that these are legit as best as we can tell. So allegedly, we have a conversation from the Puff Diddy Dum Diddy Doo Doo to one of his compatriots on the outside. Walker, can you play this audio for us? Because this audio is important.
Entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes.
Okay. So Aaron can't hear because Aaron doesn't have headphones on. I don't know if he could hear what was going on. Maybe he could. The Puff Diddler was...
Wait, Walker has something to say, apparently.
There was more left, but my phone buffered.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. That gives us enough.
Okay.
Because that's really all we need. Yeah. He's having a conversation. Now, how long has it been since...
Pizzagate?
No. How long has it been since Sean Puffy Comeover was arrested?
4 months, maybe?
I don't know if it's been full.
No, I think it's been 4 months and the whole thing's been going on. It's probably been 2 months since the actual arrest.
Maybe 2 months.
Maybe 2 months?
Yeah.
He's just concerned that he wants to get rid of those pizza boxes that were under his bed. If you were a college student, you know that pizza doesn't go bad. You can have that 2 or 3 months later.
He's concerned. So they have...
Get rid of them pizza boxes.
They have taken over 1,000 bottles of what is either baby oil or GHB from his home. I mean, why would they confiscate 1,000 bottles of baby oil for evidence? I don't know. But there's a lot of conjecture around the fact that a slippery, clear liquid would also be GHB. So there's that. And now he is concerned over leftover pizza boxes, not leftover pizza, just the boxes.
Right. Well, I mean, we've already come to the conclusion that Puffy would get ashy. That's why he had the baby oil. And, he likes pizza. And, they had boxes that he needed to get rid of. That's all that is. Y'all putting all kinds of stuff on it that, y'all reading all kinds of stuff into that.
He's the one who would order toppings on his pizza.
Diddy's been known for a long time, my entire adult life, for throwing outlandish what?
Parties.
And what do you have at parties?
Pizza.
I agree with Renee that y'all are looking into this a little bit too far.
Okay, so I love that you've taken the high level with this because the high level is where most of us stick around. But yeah, so you think, okay, so maybe it is just pizza that he's talking about. Yeah. Why would he be worried about pizza boxes that are 4 months old? What's in those boxes that would be evidentiary against him?
I pray to God those pizza boxes are more than 4 months old.
Well, I mean, maybe they were throwing a party when he got arrested and he wanted to make sure they cleaned his place up.
That he wants his place cleaned up.
So let's go down this route, and we got to do this kind of uninterrupted to connect the dots here. So it makes no sense that 4 months down the road he's worried about pizza boxes. So regardless of whether he is talking about legitimate pizza boxes or something else, he is worried about evidence of some sort. That you cannot argue. So number 2, the context of this is so key. Because according to the FBI, what is pizza code for in certain circles? Does anyone know? Hold on.
Remember,
Brian, do you know?
I have a rough understanding of what Pizzagate was about.
So please do not believe us on this. Do not take our word for this. Go look this up. Caleb, what is pizza code for?
If memory serves correct. Now, the toppings changed, it denoted, but we'll just use pizza as somebody in the trade.
Well, not necessarily somebody in the trade, because this person, the alleged pizza, doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, and when I say in the trade, like they're not there willingly.
Correct. They're not there willingly, and typically, when they are referencing pizza, they are referencing a minor.
Younger, yeah.
They are referencing a minor. So now tie it back to pizza. I mean, think about the context of all this through Pizzagate.
Yeah, when you start bringing it all back to where you look at Pizzagate and what they did, now he's worried about the shipping, the transportation of these people, how they got to him. He's like, look, we need to clean the loose ends up so that way whatever they found stops here in the confines of his building.
Okay, Brian, go ahead, because I had something.
We know about the baby oil, most likely GHB, but we know about that. Why? Because his home has multiple locations have already been raided, and what could possibly be left that they haven't discovered already?
So hold on.
They're saying his home. It's what's connected to his home.
Notice he said the boxes, and I love that you asked that question, because you know what I think when I think pizza boxes? I think of boxes. I think of big boxes. I think of one of the ways that we are told people are trafficked into the United States, which just so happens that Miami has a lot of these. Shipping boxes. And I don't mean FedEx or UPS boxes. I mean shipping containers. So if he's telling people to get rid of the leftover pizza boxes, is he telling them ditch the containers that maybe they haven't found yet because the containers have information? And look, it might just be that it's not people. It might just be evidence of other stuff.
Or, I mean, when you think about it this way, right? There's a lot of planning that goes into this, and things happen at certain time frames. So if he's telling you ditch the boxes, what deliveries are scheduled? What's supposed to be happening now that he can't oversee because of where he is?
And there's another reference that could be here. Since we are talking pure hyperbole or hypothesis here, not hyperbole, pure hypothesis. Is it possible? What do they say when you're no longer with this particular world? What do they put you in? A box. Yep. So if they're saying get rid of all the pizza boxes, you have to wonder if...
concrete shoes.
In some way, shape, or form. Look, there's no doubt these people are they're sick. There's no doubt, especially because now we talked about the first big lawsuit, 120 people claiming they were 9 and 14 years old when Diddy interacted with them, when Diddy done did it, allegedly. Now you've got a couple more lawsuits down the road that people have filed as well against that estate. And as more of this starts to come out, the worse this gets. I mean, as bad as this is, as bad as everything you are seeing, it keeps getting worse.
As it opens up, there's more and more and more and more to it. And the depravity is just going to increase.
We've got some more stories because we've been given the finger by the guy in the corner who apparently has been to a bunch of Diddy parties. Walker, thank you. We'll be back. Hour 2. By the way, if you are only getting hour 1 in your broadcast partner, the Implicit Bias Network, find us on Facebook, find us on X, find us on Instagram, find us on YouTube. You can get entire episodes of your favorite Implicit Bias, catch everything that we talked about, and get ready for the future when we come back in hour 2 of Implicit Bias.
Hey there, Louisiana. It's time to unlock your inner confidence and shine like never before. Visit Eon of Louisiana Body Contouring. Imagine sculpting your dream body with the latest, most advanced techniques. Kiss those stubborn inches goodbye. Eon's team of experts will make those curves pop and those problem areas disappear. Our treatments have no downtime and can be completed on your lunch break. Let your beauty and your confidence shine. Book your consultation now at eonoflouisiana.com. That's eonoflouisiana.com.
Results may vary. Consultation required.
Hey, Acadiana. I'm Kathleen Terrio with Next Home Cutting Edge Realty. I know realtors seem to be on every corner, but the good ones aren't. I promise to give you top-notch customer service that includes honesty, availability, and professionalism. If you're looking for a realtor you can trust and is available during your most important purchase, call me, Kathleen, where the service goes beyond the closing day. For all your commercial needs, investment properties, or your next home, call Kathleen with Next Home Cutting Edge Realty, 337-412-1536. That's 337-412-1536. Or find me on the web searching Kathleen Terrio Realtor.
Dupree Carrier Godshaw provides insurance locally as well as nationwide. A full-service agency, Dupree Carrier Godshaw can take care of all of your needs, from personal auto, home, or business, group health, life, or investment products. Dupree Carrier Godshaw is a growing business and is currently hiring. Email resumes to charlesl@dcgagency.com. For all of your insurance needs, call Dupree Carrier Godshaw at 337-948-8186 or visit dcgagency.com.
This is Louis Pizzolata, the owner of Coin and Treasure. We're your local source for rare coins, bullion, silver, and gold. In these unprecedented and uncertain times of government overreaching and economic instability, the security of having gold and silver is the perfect way to diversify your portfolio. Both gold and silver have been the tangible assets since the beginning of recorded times. Visit us today at Coin and Treasure. We are local, experienced, and still American-owned and American-proud. For 43 years, it's Coin and Treasure, 2472 West Congress.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studios. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent NewsTalk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Hour 2 of Implicit Bias is brought to you by William S. Nacall Jewelers, 3802 Johnson Street in Lafayette, Louisiana. Go find Grant Galatas. Tell him you want bigger, better diamonds for less, whatever you need, whatever you're looking for. They'll customize something just for you to make sure that your special someone gets that something oh so special. William S. Nacol Jewelers, 3802 Johnston Street, Lafayette. Hour 2 of Implicit Bias. I'm your host, Cavan Bordelon. If you're following us on the video side, you are watching from the top secret podcast lair presented by Mr. Lester Steakhouse at Cypress Bayou Casino. Make your reservations. We're going to be there on October 30th. The restaurant will be closed. You can see, though, the show, which we will then put out to all of our socials, and you can then make your reservations to dine at the only 5-star restaurant between New Orleans and Houston in Louisiana, because let me tell you, it is an absolutely fantastic experience. Let's introduce you to the crew. Let's start at the bar. He is Louisiana's only certified master tobacconist. Renee, do you have a cigar for this upcoming election specifically that you're holding on to?
Well,
like a victory stogie?
Well, I mean, we do have. It's actually in the Biden price range. It's very expensive. We just got a shipment of Cohiba Weller cigars. These are Cohiba cigars, very limited edition. They do them once a year. They age them in Weller bourbon barrels. So you get that slight sweetness of the Weller. But, people are already coming and buying their cigars for that night, and I think I only got less than 10 left. And they're like $35 a cigar. It's, like I said, it's Biden priced.
Yeah, but...
when it was during Trump, they were like $14. But, but it's a great cigar, and we're limited on it. We only got 3 boxes, sold 2 of them yesterday. I got a partial box left. That's it. So come get it quick.
It almost sounds like it's a collector's item.
Oh, yeah. They do this Weller cigar once a year. But this time of year, they come out with it. It's a Toro size, and, it's just...
So are they all done with Weller?
Yes.
Oh, they all done with...
It's one size.
Okay.
10 to a box, and they're all the cigars are aged in Weller bourbon barrels.
So my question is, which Weller do they age it in? Because there's the Weller Special Reserve, there's the Weller 107 Antique, there's the Full Proof, there's...
the label is blue. I don't know.
Okay, so it's possible, I say. I don't know if it's probable, but if it's blue, that is the Full Proof label on a bottle of Weller. So if it's Weller Full Proof, it's got the blue label, which makes me wonder.
It's all, the cigar, the band, the boxes, all the wrapping, everything, the tube, everything is all blue. I don't know which Weller it is. I don't worry about it. I just smoke them because they're good.
Hey, love it. Sitting with Renee is Triple H. He is Brian Harmon. Mr. Harmon, you going to partake of one of these? Because I know that we actually have an event we're attending tonight to benefit scouting here in the Lafayette area.
Yes, I will be there. I'll be there tonight. I look forward to it. In fact, I started looking forward to it at about this time last year.
This is the Cigar Speakeasy, correct?
Yes.
So what does someone who wants to help scouting in Acadiana, what does this event help do for young children who are looking to grow to that next level?
This is a question better asked by a friend of the show by the name of Lee. But it's a fundraiser for Evangeline Area Council Boy Scouts. They most notably, what I like to talk about when I do get asked this is there is a very popular Boy Scout summer camp in Henderson Swamp. And I think the original thinking behind this was to raise money for just for the funds to get that going, and it became very popular. And they just keep it going. So, but all the money stays in Acadiana. 100% of the proceeds do stay in Acadiana. It's a very fun event. We don't get a lot of these events type things in the area, and it's always fun. I have not just fun; it's an absolute blast. It's the venue's fantastic. It's a good spot. And like I said, when it ended last year, I marked it on the calendar. I'm looking forward to it again.
And for those who don't know, if you're not in the Lafayette area, if you're in the New Orleans, Vidalia, Monroe area, when we say Acadiana, what we're talking about is a 9-parish area that pretty much on the east side is bordered by St. Martin Parish. On the west side is Jeff Davis. The south side is actually at the Gulf at St. Mary Parish. The north side, Evangeline Parish. And it's all those parishes in between. That's what we reference when we say the Acadiana area. So speaking of the Acadiana area, one of the things you can find, we talked about Mr. Lester Steakhouse. The gentlemen at the bar are sampling what's available. The flight for $30 available at Mr. Lester Steakhouse. You've had some of the Angels Envy. Guys, if you can just tell us a little bit about how delicious or not delicious that is. I mean.
Well, last time I was here, I tried the Oaked. Awesome cigar. Oh, a cigar. It'd go good with a cigar. I just had some of the rye finished in a rum cask, which is, I like. I mean, there's probably most of it left, most of the bottle left. It didn't get sampled very much, but I'm going to sample some more of it, I think, in a little bit.
That oak, the triple oaked, is so good.
Yeah. That's this bottle, the one that's almost empty.
Yeah, it is so delicious. It is so fantastic. It is such deep caramel. It is so just enough spice. It's kind of everything you want except for maybe the proof, Caleb.
And now that I think about it, I've got a buddy of mine who he is a Navy vet. And, they say that the reason pirates didn't take over the world is because of rum. And he's got a peg leg. So maybe if I bring him some of that finished rye, he might just start talking like he has a parrot on his shoulder.
Yeah. As long as we get a couple of good args in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
We need some of those, right? And he's got to say booty a bunch.
Well, I mean, Brian's almost there. Or Triple H is almost there.
I'm not feeling the Triple H name. I'm sorry. It's bringing up teenage years, and I don't care for it.
So you know what, Brian?
Triple H.
Brian, thank you for letting us know.
No,
I appreciate you telling us. Yes. Thank you. Look, no, we really do need to actually attempt to be sensitive to his implicit biases. The reality is we just don't care. And from here on out, Triple H, that is what I'm going to call you even when you're not on the show, just so you know.
Nick, you don't choose nicknames. They choose you.
That's right.
Correct.
I understand that. It was TMI last time I was here. It was Niedermeyer the time before that, if I remember right.
Well, so nicknames evolve. They do. We know this.
That's why they find you.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's why they find you. Which is, speaking of nicknames that find you, why Better Off Dead is here. It's not just his nickname. He truly is. Walker Griffon. Walker, did you get another pour? I know you've got another show to do later today.
No, when we finish this, got to go back to the studio. So, no, I did not get another pour.
For those who don't know, Caleb is actually trying to act as if he is Walker when he talks with his hands. And
I try. I think I'm doing a pretty good job. The more I do it, the better I get.
I'm glad that was on film. That was. I can't believe you nailed that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it makes the final edited version of the show. Oh, my goodness. So speaking of things that make the final edited version, we were talking about the Puff Diddity Dum on the last segment of Hour 1, because the whole P. Diddler saga has just been really, really crazy. And we said during the break, the question isn't necessarily how deep does this go? The question really is how wide does this go? Who all is involved in this? Another news flash, big arrest. The CEO, the former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, was arrested, if anybody's paying attention.
I read that one, yeah.
What was he arrested for, Caleb, since you read it?
Well, he actually, I don't know how you would word this very well without saying it. I mean, he manipulated some of his, we'll call them male models. Underaged into these sex parties that he was, they was under the guise of modeling careers and gigs, and then force them into these acts via drugs and everything else.
So did he Harvey Weinstein him? Is what he was doing basically?
Yeah,
it
was him and two other guys.
Well, they're using their influence. Oh, if you want to continue to this gig, you got to do this.
Yeah, that's what they did. It was, if you want to further your modeling career,
right?
These are the things that you have to do.
Well, that's some sick bastards.
And then it goes through like the kind of people they pinpointed. They pinpointed heterosexual males that would be embarrassed by these acts. And then they got them drunk or drugged them to where they were not willing but unable to stop it.
Right.
So,
and then, of course, then they won't say anything because they're ashamed of it.
Yeah,
So wait a
That's
minute.
exactly why they do that.
So what you're telling me is that we now have Epstein, Puff Dum Diddly Doo, and the CEO of former Abercrombie and Fitch all engaging in blackmail around the same type of activity, extortion over forcing themselves on compromising situations that could potentially be breaking the law.
I'm sure that list is way longer than those three people.
And that's the thing is that circle. I don't know how big that circle is.
Oh, I'm
but
pretty
they
sure.
all-
I bet you it's Jai Hughes.
Well, but they all know each other. They
Yes.
all run together. They
Oh,
all go
yeah.
to the same parties.
Well, let's I wonder if they were trying to clean up pizza boxes
There
together.
you go.
Well, it's like who was that was talking about? They were the celebrities that were cleaning their Facebook, their X. And
We talked about that on the show, yeah.
before. Why? Because they're all in that same circle.
The really interesting thing to me here is this. There are people who are saying nothing's happening. Nothing's going to happen. Okay. The really obvious stuff that we might be paying attention to, like CBS editing out entire segments of answers or editing and changing answers altogether, nothing may happen there. But in the last 2 years, because I'm trying to think of when Epstein didn't kill himself. Was that 2 years ago or 3 or 4? I mean, it was a while ago.
Close to 3, probably.
Close to 3. But in the last few years, Epstein didn't kill himself. P. Diddy's been arrested. We now have the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch who's been picked up on child exploitation charges. I mean, you've got all of these big names that are slowly starting to fall and ending up in, as Office Space would say, pound me in the federal prison, right? That's where they're going to end up. That's where these people are going. And slowly but surely, it seems like it's a whole big network. And you can even go back farther to the Bronfman name. For those who remember the Bronfmans, that was the Nexum cult where the owner of Seagram's, that family was a part of that conversation, and they got taken down. You also had SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, who was funneling money into very particular political parties. I mean, you've got a lot of big things that have been happening. So to say nothing is happening is maybe disingenuous.
I, for one, couldn't be more happy about the news with this guy with Abercrombie and Fitch. Yes, I'm a little biased because back, in high school, early college days, it was all the rage. All my friends were wearing and to be honest, those clothes never fit me. There wasn't a thing in the store that would fit me, so I couldn't have happened to a better person.
I think I tried on a pair of their pants one time.
But you know what's a shame, though, is the name of that company and that company, the history of that company.
Yeah.
Abercrombie and Fitch
Safari
were
outfitters.
an outfitters back in the turn of the 1900s. They built stuff to go on safari. They were an outdoors company, and I mean, it's no longer that type of company anymore.
So was Banana Republic.
It was, Banana Republic, same thing. And what's really interesting is you get these people, it's almost like they were placed there. It's almost like somebody said, we've got to make sure we put all these right people in all the right places so that those networks could form and function exactly the way that they wanted them to.
Do you mean someone logistically or built a logistics channel where they could get young male models, shipping companies?
Nope, I'm going
all
deeper
these
than
other
that.
things, and they put the CEOs in place to where it would feed itself?
I'm going farther than that. It's almost as if somebody who wanted control of a lot of things put a logistics channel into place and said, how do we make sure that we get all the power brokers who control the money to do what we want so that we can control where the money is spent, what is done, what policies are put into play, which is the more important part of it, so that we, through the stroke of a simple broad brush, can now control housing markets, clothing markets, can control cultural trends, can control all of it.
Yeah, I mean, you set up an extortion or blackmail chain. You got all of these guys that go, hey, dude, you better dance my way or else you're gone. You know, it's crazy. And a lot of people will go, oh, that's just a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy theory. No, it's a conspiracy. It's not. It is the conspiracy.
Okay, so speaking of that, and you're right, Renee, it is a conspiracy. One of the conspiracies, and we follow Ian Carroll. If you've ever seen Ian Carroll on X, he does videos where he kind of deep dives on a lot of stuff. And he actually threw up a topic, and I was like, oh, we covered this maybe years ago on the show when we talked about the McDonald's ice cream machines not working.
Oh, you saw Trump fix that when he went due to fries, though.
Yeah. Well, here's the crazy part. It is not just a conspiracy theory that this was put into play.
It's not a theory.
It is a full-on conspiracy, because what we now know, because there was another lawsuit that was filed, and Ian Carroll did a great job of breaking this down, find him on X, where he dives into, stick it, Walker, where he dives into, you can take that 1 minute finger and you know where it goes. But he dives into the fact that the company that makes the ice cream machines, that did not want them fixed because so much of their revenue was coming in through the maintenance, the repair, the operation of the machine.
The service contract.
Correct. They hired multiple private investigators to try and buy a subscription to the software for the fix, and they rooted them out. The company that created the fix was like, oh no, we know who this is. They did it so many times before they finally got it, and they have email deposition, not deposition. So in a deposition, they got discovery, and in discovery, they have copies of emails saying we have to submarine this company, or they're going to fix the ice cream machines at McDonald's, which is going to cost us in excess of $175 million a year. Please don't believe me. The numbers are there. It's crazy. Yeah. And when people say, oh, there are no conspiracy theories, no, it's not a theory. Yeah. This is the definition of a freaking conspiracy.
Yeah.
It's the definition of a corporate conspiracy to control money. And by the way, when you don't get your milkshake, they're the reason why. Because evil people will do evil things to take your money. Because guess who's ultimately paying for all the repairs to all of those machines?
We are.
The consumer.
We are. I mean, we always do that.
Which means that you, the consumer, you're also going to have to pay to keep implicit bias on the air. Walker gave us the 1 minute finger. I told him to shove it. But now we are going to take the break. So yes, Walker, we will take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue hour 2. More Weekly Whiskey. More solving the problems of the world. More implicit bias.
Experience Acadiana's most exclusive steakhouse, Mr. Lester's at Cypress Bayou. Make your reservation today. Space is limited.
Back to Cypress Bayou Casino.
Take Highway 90 to the Baldwin exit.
Ever think about firearm safety? Are you new to shooting? Don't know how to get started? Here's Caleb with the Rustic Renegade.
I love new shooters because they don't have any bad habits yet. So you get somebody who hasn't been around it, hasn't been around firearms, or hasn't done a lot of shooting. We can sit down in a very safe environment where there's no live ammunition, no risk of any residuals, and train them the right way before they actually get on a range and go and do some live fire.
Why don't you come in and have a cup of coffee with us? The Rustic Renegade at therusticrenegade.com.
Renee Gerard, Acadiana certified master tobacconist, owns Piper's Haven at 3916 West Congress, right between Adrian's and Gilbo Road. How many cigars are in that humidor?
A lot.
100?
Oh, more than that.
Way more than that?
Way more than that.
It don't matter?
Thousands of cigars.
Thousands?
Thousands
of cigars in the humidor at Piper's Haven. So you've got all these cigars. You've got pipes and pipe tobacco stuff.
I got pipes, pipe tobacco, cigars, cigar lighters, cigar cutters, pipe lighters, pipe stands, Lamborghini lamps, the scents. I got everything you need.
Really what you need is a great cigar, great conversation at Piper's Haven.
Yeah,
right?
And we need some cool weather because it's too hot to sit on a porch right now.
I agree, but that's okay because you got a smoking room.
Yes, we do. It's an air-conditioned smoking room with a big screen TV.
So if you need a haven from home, you've got Piper's Haven, 3916 West Congress Street, between Adrian's and Gilbo Road. Renee will help you pick out a great cigar.
Hour 2 of Implicit Bias is brought to you by William S. Nacall Jewelers. Grant, what's your address?
802 Johnston.
3802 Johnston Street, William S. Nacall Jewelers, bringing you Implicit Bias. Hour 2 of Implicit Bias is brought to you by William S. Nacall Jewelers, 3802 Johnston Street in Lafayette, Louisiana. Go find Grant Galatas. Tell him you want bigger, better diamonds for less, whatever you need, whatever you're looking for. They'll customize something just for you to make sure that your special someone gets that something oh so special. William S. Nacall Jewelers, 3802 Johnston Street, Lafayette. Hour 2 of Implicit Bias rolling on from the top secret podcast lair located somewhere in downtown Lafayette, Louisiana, presented by Mr. Lester Steakhouse. I'm your host, Cavan Bordelon. At the bar, we've got the certified wizard of tobacco, Renee Girard of Piper's Haven. We've got Triple H, Brian Harmon, Dupree Carrier Godshaw. In the chair like mine, we have the rustic renegade. He is Caleb Morse. And the guy you can't see, and yes, you're welcome, Walker Griffon. Just trust me, no one wants to see Walker. All right. We were talking about the misinformation, the disinformation, and the division that needs to be created as we get even closer to the election of 2024. And this one just again goes to show you how far people are willing to go. So we've already talked about CBS editing interviews. We've already talked about some of the misinformation that's out there. But one of the big talking points has been, don't believe your eyes and ears, believe what we tell you. And what we are telling you is that between 2020 and now, the end of October 2024, crime is down. Violent crime is down. Believe it. Believe it. Don't believe what you see on the news. Don't believe what happens to people you know when they go into big cities. Believe us, because we're the ones telling you. And then 14 days before the election or so, the FBI comes out and says, yeah, you know those statistics we put out in 2022? And we'll let Caleb explain how crime statistics work. But you know those statistics we put out in 2022 that said that crime was down? Well, we need to revise those. And they revised them. And Caleb, what happened with the revision?
Well, crime actually went up. Instead of being down 2.1%, it went up to 4.5 up. So that means that's a 6.4% increase. And here's part of that. In 2020, the FBI actually changed the way they do the reporting.
Oh.
And it went to a digital system that the FBI had complete control over. And if your agency didn't plug into this system, you were no longer reporting. So we dropped down to a 40% reporting rate.
So wait a minute.
Guess where the majority of the places that don't report crime are?
I was about to say, so hold on just a second. What you're telling me is they said, all right, we're going to change the way we report it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't report, we're just going to pretend that nothing happened.
Those numbers don't exist anymore. Most of San Francisco, Los Angeles, and a few other cities in California do zero reporting. New York City, guess what number reporting they have at the NYPD?
New York City, get a rope.
Zero reporting. DC, zero reporting.
So essentially, the worst crime places in the country
did not report any crime at all.
Wasn't New Orleans left off of that
New
as well?
New Orleans was not included with that because they didn't plug in. Oddly enough.
Wait.
Well, and all these people complained about not having the budget to plug in.
No.
Lafayette plugged in.
No. Those cities you just listed are all Democrat blue-controlled cities.
Oh.
There you go, connecting
and that's
the dots.
all. Yeah, that's why they didn't report, because they didn't want to spend the money to hook in. No, because they didn't want those numbers reported. They wanted to give it
numbers reported.
Yeah.
So wait, whoa, guys, you're telling me you think this was intentional?
Well, of course.
How could you say that? How could you say that was intentional?
The media, who is their mouthpiece, was reporting that crime was down also.
Yep.
So wait a minute. So now you are suggesting, Renee.
No, I don't think I suggested. I think I said it.
It was pretty explicit.
I was clear on that, right?
What you are suggesting is that someone, somewhere, said, all right, we know that crime is up. We need to coordinate. Like you got the mushroom shirt, you got the mushroom hat, bam, you got to get the mushroom belt. You got to coordinate in order to find a way to bring the statistics down, which isn't that the definition of a conspiracy?
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think it was someone. I think it was somebody's, plural. There's a bunch of people that are controlling all of this. I'm convinced of that. I mean, it's got to be a committee
Pay
of
no
some
attention
kind.
to the man behind the curtain, right?
Yeah. The great and powerful Oz. Yeah.
And follow the money.
Yeah.
That crime report was released about a week or two prior to the presidential debate, the one debate they did together, correct? Is that always released at the same time?
It's normally released about 2 years late, just because it takes time to compile the
So
information.
yeah, walk us through why we're talking about 2022 crime rates instead of 2023.
It's always about 2 years late behind the fact. They do it all the even years, just because it takes a lot of time to compile this information. It goes through and talks about the most dangerous weapons that are used throughout crime, which the most dangerous weapons used in crime are hammers and screwdrivers. Hammers and screwdrivers kill more people than handguns and rifles combined.
Shocker.
I mean, I think we should talk about assault screwdriver control. I mean, they take a battery, rapid exchange for the tips. Like, if we really cared, we would regulate those heavily.
Yep, agreed.
The assault screwdriver, that's the Phillips, right?
Phillips head.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Phillips
Just
head
checking.
electric.
Just
Phillips head
checking.
electric. But it goes through, it lays out where most of the crime is located, which is majority of its cities. It talks about the most dangerous areas, the types of crime, homicides, vehicular manslaughter. It talks about automotive theft, which New Orleans is really big on. And it breaks all this stuff down and gives us the stats, but it takes time to compile them. Like, you have to give them that. It does take time to compile and sort this data.
I don't care that it takes time to compile them. I just want them right. And now you're telling me
It's never going to be right.
Well, they had 2 years. So hold on. They had 2 years to give us something close to accurate. They gave us a report, and then somehow in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, they went, oh, yeah, that report that we took 2 years to put together, in 12 weeks, we figured out that we screwed it all up.
Well, wait. Why does it take 2 years to put a report together when the majority of the cities that have most of the crime aren't even reporting? So it shouldn't take that long to put that report together.
It shouldn't.
And you said they switched in 2020 to digital, correct?
2019, 2020 is when they switched
Which
to the
should
way
have
it was processed.
which should have sped
And
it up.
that was the intent, for it to speed up the way and do a real-life tracking. But the problem you run into is, even in there, and this is a big thing that I'm part of, is suicide prevention, right? So suicide is a homicide. So they have to go through and look at each one of these files, and it's not done through AI yet, and say this was a suicide, this was a traditional homicide, this was gang related, this was a mass shooting. They have to connect all the different ones, because just because you have 20 calls for 911 doesn't mean it's 20 different instances.
And see, I figured it took them so long because they had somebody like Renee who had to pull out an abacus even though they have a computer because they can't figure out how to work the computer. They're sitting there on their phone going, how do I send a text in this thing?
The reason I asked about the timing compared to the presidential debate, I don't think we give the powers that be enough credit for the amount of scheming that they actually do.
No,
I think that was incredible. That was intentional. They knew that if they had floated that a week or two prior to the presidential debate, Donald Trump was going to bring it up, or he at some point he was going to bring up violent crime on the rise so that he could be fact-checked on in real time, and that they would have an FBI crime report to fall back on. And then 6 weeks later, now it was as soon as I saw the revision numbers come out, I just kind of scoffed, because it was as predictable that they were going to revise those numbers as it's now predictable that the jobless claims are going to be revised after they release it.
So wait a minute. So what you're telling me is you got the mushroom shirt, you got the mushroom belt, bam, you got the mushroom socks. There is someone coordinating with the media to let them know this is a point of contention that's going to come up, because you can't tell me this wasn't predictable. You can't tell me that they didn't put this out knowing that someone was going to say something in the debate for it to be fact-checked in real time, with essentially the fact-checker lying because the fact-checker knows too.
I mean, we already know that there's somebody, a group in the media that coordinates all this, because you look at these key phrases. They'll get a phrase, and that day, every media outlet is using the exact same phrase. So there's somebody putting all of that out.
I can tell you how some of that happens. Some of that happens because years ago we deregulated broadcast media and we allowed multiple stations to be owned by the same corporation. So what happens is these corporations all get this theory, we need to run things from the ivory tower. There are certain stories, there's a certain amount of news we can aggregate to one newsroom instead of 80 newsrooms across the country.
You mean like when we look at it and they have 12 news channels reporting and it's all the same script?
Because it all came from the same person.
Yeah, but Cavan, I'm talking about these are national corporate. You're talking CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS. All of those.
Correct.
They are competing companies. Those people
are using
the exact same language.
So, and that's where I agree with you. That's why I said I can explain some of it.
Yeah.
Corporate
I
ownership.
can understand ABC owning, multiple stations across the country. But I'm talking the corporate national programs doing this.
Yep. And it happens all. What, Walker? Oh, dear Lord. The 1 minute finger means we got to listen to Walker. He thinks he's a little control freak over there, thinks he's got a little throne with a little bitty crown and a little bitty scepter, and he's waving it in the corner. Well, we know he's got a little scepter. We've talked to his girlfriend. Yeah. We'll be back. More Implicit Bias right after this.
At Industrial Fabrication Services, we've been serving the oil, gas, agricultural, and refinery industries for 15 years. I'm owner Jonathan Broussard, and I've worked in fabrication and welding, covering a multitude of techniques, processes, and design for over 30 years. Our goal is to be personal and hands-on. Let Industrial Fabrication Services bring your project to life. Call us at 337-330-2326. Or find us at ifsllc.net. Industrial Fabrication Services.
Drink Kacheri's Coffee, the official coffee of Implicit Bias. Available at La Creperie on Colley's Saloon, at the Rustic Renegade, Automotive Gear on Judson Walsh and Opelousas, and the Chill House, the dessert destination in Maurice. Kacheri's Coffee, the official coffee of Implicit Bias.
Hey there, Louisiana. It's time to unlock your inner confidence and shine like never before. Visit Eon of Louisiana Body Contouring. Imagine sculpting your dream body with the latest, most advanced techniques. Kiss those stubborn inches goodbye. Eon's team of experts will make those curves pop and those problem areas disappear. Our treatments have no downtime and can be completed on your lunch break. Let your beauty and your confidence shine. Book your consultation now at eonoflouisiana.com. That's eonoflouisiana.com.
Results may vary. Consultation required.
Hour 2 of Implicit Bias is brought to you by William S. Nacall Jewelers, 3802 Johnson Street in Lafayette, Louisiana. Go find Grant Galatas. Tell him you want bigger, better diamonds for less, whatever you need, whatever you're looking for. They'll customize something just for you to make sure that your special someone gets that something oh so special. William S. Nacall Jewelers, 3802 Johnson Street, Lafayette.
Montag, lieben, glauben, globen. All right. I got something to say.
Penultimate segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias. That means that it's the second to last for our Democratic voters out there. By the way, if you have missed any segment of the show, you can go find us anywhere you can download a podcast. If you want to find the video segments, X, Facebook, YouTube, Insta, YouTube, you'll find the entire show all in one segment if you want. I mean, it's long, so you got to have some time to sit down and watch the whole show, but we're put it all together for you on YouTube. It's all over the socials. Trust me, you don't want to miss any of your favorite Saturday, weekly podcast, video, TV show, radio show. I guess we cover all of it now, right, guys?
Most of it. There's things that we don't want to cover.
We're not really in print.
No,
we're not in print yet.
Well, print's a dead medium, so you know.
I haven't seen y'all on vinyl. I've looked.
No, we are not going to be on vinyl. That would be a extremely long.
Man, can you imagine like when he talks, but whoop, whoop.
That's an LP for sure.
Yes, it absolutely is. All right, so we've talked about a lot on this week's episode. We've got so many topics that have woven their way through the fabric of Implicit Bias. This one kind of comes back because we didn't quite get to it maybe when it fit, but maybe it fits now, maybe it doesn't, because it's kind of bringing back the P. Dum Diddler story from earlier and the pizza boxes and all of this, which is, we're supposed to believe all whistleblowers, right? I mean, Democrats will tell you that we are now supposed to believe a woman who says that she was groped by a presidential candidate in like 1997 in a particular place, but she wasn't there or the building wasn't there until 1999. I mean, we've got all this stuff coming out. And then we have a whistleblower who comes out from the federal government who says there is a $347 million program. $347 million to transport children into this country who do not have parental guardians. Now, on the surface, you might go, oh, that's probably money well spent. There are probably children who want to come here. Look at Vito Corleone. He didn't have family when he came here.
Yeah, it's people that are trying to get extradited out of their own country, or maybe they're coming across the border. And
Nobody got that joke.
No, but that was nice.
Somebody
I see what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, from The Godfather, Vito Corleone, right? In Godfather Part 2, he checked in at Ellis Island on his own. That's how he ended up with the nickname. Because his real name was not Corleone. His real name was Andolini.
No, that's more than I remember.
Yeah, well,
he was wearing a tag of the town he came from.
Correct, which is Corleone, Sicily. Yes. Okay. Anyway, so we know that children have come here by themselves previously, and obviously we need to fund that. But we're a messy species, aren't we?
Yeah.
We got some bad apples in the barrel.
Too many.
And those bad apples will do what? They will take advantage of every good thing to try and twist it for themselves.
The road to hell is paved in good intentions.
Yeah, but there ain't no good intentions on that. That's all evil. Just pure evil.
$347 million to bring in unaccompanied minors into the U.S. who then get put into the system and lost. And this whistleblower is very explicit about her claim. And her claim is not that this program is set up for good intentions. Her claim is that this program is set up for people with bad intentions with children.
Well, and look, this could feed directly into a topic that we didn't talk about last time, which was when you sent one where they showed that children in the, what's the name of the system that your child goes into? Foster care.
The foster care system.
That they knowingly and directly sent kids to rapists, molesters, and everything else using GSA vehicles, which is the contract for this, a GSA contract.
This is the really scary part to me about all of this, which is your tax dollars, my tax dollars, everybody here in the TSPL, our tax dollars, anybody out there who hears it, their tax dollars could intentionally be used to traffic children to those who have the intent to abuse them.
And that's what's horrible, is this makes us all guilty by proxy, because we are all either silently allowing this to happen with our own tax dollars, or we should be vehemently speaking out against this crap.
Well, I mean, and you got to go back to the big conspiracy. You look at Epstein. There's some very powerful people that supposedly are in the Black Book. Those people are in government and in control of things that, P. Diddy and that big vicious world out there. There's some sick puppies out there, and they're all interconnected.
So, Renee, let's now connect these dots, because is it Kanye who has been alleging that P. Diddy is an FBI asset for decades? So wait a minute. You're telling me that someone who is now being accused of drugging people, creating these parties where there are underage children, is an FBI asset, which means the FBI knows everything he does.
And they allow it to happen.
Well,
maybe they do more than allow it.
And
maybe
obviously,
they encourage it.
Yeah, but obviously he did something that upset somebody, because now all of a sudden he's exposed and this is coming up. And I think he's going to die of COVID in jail.
Or is this is this part of the great cleanup? Wow. Is this part of the great cleanup? Because maybe what we are seeing,
I don't know,
is a slow, methodical cleanup of now. I mean, the Bronfman family. We've got Epstein. We've got Diddy. You've got now the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch. You're starting to see a lot of really big people. Remember, the entire board, and look, this is just coincidence. It's a big coinky-dink that the entire board of 23andMe resigned within 24 hours of Diddy getting arrested.
See, I don't know if it's a cleanup or if it's just a shift change.
Well, when blood's in the water.
I'm wondering if it's not a shift change.
When blood's in the water, the sharks come.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you say a shift change, you mean like we're just changing the players in the business that is consistently going.
We're just changing the guard. P. Diddy is going to be replaced by somebody else. Epstein is going to be being replaced by somebody else that we don't know who yet,
or already has.
Oh yeah, that we don't know who it is yet. It's just a shift change. Because evil will continue to exist. It is not going away. We have to continue to fight it, but it will always be there.
Which brings us back to our topic of why we have to have division. Because there are going to always be people who make bad decisions, and there have to be good people to offset that. Now, it's funny that you say that, because I actually made reference to the person who was claiming this model, who made this obviously erroneous claim that Trump groped her, and it came out less than 24 hours before we record this. Here's the really interesting part. The magazine in which that was written, the editor-in-chief, take a guess who one of her besties is. Because there's now pictures out there of her vacationing together with Ghislaine Maxwell. Which brings us right back to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
It is amazing how interconnected all of these names continue to become when you start to put the spider web together and you go, so wait a minute, the person that wrote the article, the editor of that particular magazine, The Atlantic, by the way, I tell you the only reason I bring up the name of the magazine is so you don't pick it up. Make it be an absolute cash suck for them to continue to produce it, because it is at the root of potentially a lot of evil in this country. But my point is, all these people, as you start diving into the spider web, the same names keep coming up.
Well, and it's not just the same names, but relatives and connections of the same people. There's a bunch of posts on Facebook that I've seen, and some of these names that they're putting that's related to or married to, and it's just in White House administrations, in government official federal law enforcement administrations. It's just like, my God.
Be careful with them.
It is a swamp.
And here's the reason why we say be careful with them. Don't trust us. Please don't. Do the research yourself. Make up your own decisions, because we don't want you to make a decision based on something we say and then be like, hey, those guys, they were wrong. No, we're telling you as best as we can discern, because the fog of this spiritual war that we are in right now is thick. It is really dense. It is really hard to ascertain what you think you see and it being what you actually see. I liken it to this, and this is the analogy that I use. If you've ever been a hunter at all in your life, if you've ever hunted, you sit in the woods, you get there when it's dark and you can't see anything. And then as the sun comes up, you start looking at things and you're like, oh, that's an animal and it's a bush. You say that's an animal and it's a palm tree, right? It's nothing is what it seems until the full light is shed. And we can't shed that while Walker is taking that stupid finger and putting it in the air in the corner, which means that we're going to come back for one more segment, one more bit of fun, one more weekly whiskey from the TSPL presented by Mr. Lester Steakhouse on Implicit Bias.
I'm Lee Ritter with Ritter Consulting Engineers. We've been around for over 40 years, and we've helped out local and state governments and regional contractors with their asbestos hazardous material issues. We can come in and do inspections and design to help you remove that hazardous material and keep your site safe and healthy for your workers, occupants, and the general public. We comply with all local, federal, and state regulations, keeping you in the clear. Give us a call, 984-8498, or look us up, RitterConsultingEngineers.com.
How sweet it is. Gambino's Bakery of Lafayette can satisfy all of your bakery needs. Cakes, cookies, pastries, melt-in-your-mouth pedophores, wedding cakes, and, of course, the original New Orleans Dauberge cake. Family-owned and operated, let Gambino's Bakery take care of all your dessert needs for your family gathering, tailgate, holiday, or any special occasion. Visit with the baking professionals in Lafayette. Find what fits your taste. Enjoy the sweet life with Gambino's Bakery of Lafayette, 3802 Johnston Street. Call them at 337-406-9066 or online at gambinos.com.
Hey Acadiana, I'm Kathleen Terrio with Next Home Cutting Edge Realty. I know realtors seem to be on every corner, but the good ones aren't. I promise to give you top-notch customer service that includes honesty, availability, and professionalism. If you're looking for a realtor you can trust and is available during your most important purchase, call me, Kathleen, where the service goes beyond the closing day. For all your commercial needs, investment properties, or your next home, call Kathleen with Next Home Cutting Edge Realty, 337-412-1536. That's 337-412-1536. Or find me on the web searching Kathleen Terrio Realtor.
Water damage needs to be fixed the right way the first time. For water damage in Acadiana, turn to the best, ZB Environmental. Utilizing large commercial desiccant dehumidifiers, Zach Blanchard is even there for homes or businesses that have lost utilities. ZB Environmental will also rent portable drying equipment as well. For your damage assessment, call ZB Environmental at 337-247-4200 or zbenvironmental.com. That's zbenvironmental.com.
Experience Acadiana's most exclusive steakhouse, Mr. Lester's at Cypress Bayou. Make your reservation today. Space is limited. Take Highway 90 to the Baldwin exit.
Hour 2 of Implicit Bias is brought to you by William S. Nacall Jewelers, 3802 Johnston Street in Lafayette, Louisiana. Go find Grant Galatas. Tell him you want bigger, better diamonds for less, whatever you need, whatever you're looking for. They'll customize something just for you to make sure that your special someone gets that something oh so special. William S. Nacall Jewelers, 3802 Johnston Street, Lafayette. Final segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias, and the timing is impeccable because timing is really important as we approach the most influential event in the history of the United States. And I'm not talking about the 2024 election. I'm talking about the watch party from here in the Top Secret Podcast Lair on November 5th, starting at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to crank it up. You can watch. You can get our reaction to election results from the Top Secret Podcast Lair and your Implicit Bias. So that being said, fellas, there's a couple of election stories that the timing just doesn't sit right with me. So let's go back to 2020 because we need context for this to really make sense. It was about, 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. on Election Day 2020 when we got word that there was a water main break in the facility in Atlanta, Georgia, where ballots were being counted. Correct, Renee? It was about that time.
About 9:30 Central
If
Time.
Walker can work your microphone. Thank you, Walker, for doing your job.
9:30 Central Time. And, yeah, there was a main water leak, and everybody had to evacuate the building except for a few people that stayed.
That's what we were told.
You're right.
Well, lo and behold, as soon as they stopped counting in Georgia, because of a water main break in Georgia, they had to stop counting in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And they also stopped counting.
I think that was a union thing because Atlanta stopped, the vote counters union in Pennsylvania had to stop.
Big coincidence. Big coincidence. Which at the same time, someone decided to stop counting in Michigan and in Wisconsin. And at the same time, they just so happened to call Arizona with 1% in. 1% of votes being reported in a race that eventually was called with a 12,000 vote margin for one candidate. But with 1% in, they could make an accurate call. That's allegedly.
They consulted with Cornack.
Correct.
Yeah.
For those who remember Johnny Carson, the king of late night. He was. But here's kind of where the timing gets real interesting. Every single one of those states had to go for Joe Biden. And what do you know?
They did.
What do you know?
Imagine that.
Middle of the night when they're not supposed to be counting anymore in Georgia, votes got added. Middle of the night when they're not supposed to be counting votes anymore in Wisconsin and Michigan, votes got added. So I'm just saying.
Wait, what did the media call that? The 2 o'clock drop or 3 o'clock drop?
It was like the 3 o'clock drop.
3 o'clock drop.
So here's the really interesting part. You would hope that in what we consider to be the most developed country on the planet, that we can count our votes in each state by the end of the night. Well, it just so happened that the secretaries of state, or secretaries of state, came out earlier this week, and it was only the secretaries of state in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin who came out and said, guess what? We're not going to have all the votes counted on election night.
They can't do it.
We can't do it.
It's impossible. Impossible.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Won't happen. Can't do it. So wait a minute. What you're telling me is that Argentina can count all of its votes by midnight on election day. And the state of Georgia can't figure it out?
No, even better than that. Louisiana has one of the most secure and efficient election systems in the country. Go figure. You know, we joke about politics in Louisiana.
We are backwards.
But you need an ID to vote. Our election results are reported that night.
There's actually a college that has reported, and I'm going to have to find it. There's a college that reported that they are going to allow and told their students, you can show up here, use your college ID to vote because it will suffice for your ID. They have international students. Why? You're telling me an international student gets to vote in the United States?
Yeah.
The university says,
Where do they get off making their students have to have an ID? In what world do they need to have an ID? How dare they?
How dare
they?
How dare they make their students actually be who they claim to be to cast a vote?
What's the population of Texas and Florida? I think it's like 82 and 85 million, something like that.
Oh, that I don't know.
Okay, they're going to report. They're going to have all of their votes counted by election night. What's Georgia? What's Wisconsin? What's Minnesota? I know Pennsylvania's up there, but
let's be better with this. What about
you mentioned Argentina, but
what about California? California can count all of its votes.
Yeah.
Why
does the next question not be asked of these
I'll tell you why. Because the presidential election hinges on just those states. Because they're trying to do what they did before. The playbook has worked before. We need to know how many votes we need to manufacture in those states to create the win.
See, in California, they already know. They can call that state right now. They already know it's going for Harris. I mean, it's just California has turned blue. There are some red pockets, some deep red pockets, but a majority of the state is blue. So that's why California can report that on time, because they're not counting nothing. They're just going, stamping it, go.
I'm going to disagree with you. The majority of the state geographically is red.
Yep.
The majority of the state population-wise, L.A., San Francisco,
the big
San Diego,
cities.
Those three big cities, those are all blue. And because those three cities are blue in California,
and the population outdoes everything else in California.
Which is really interesting because Louisiana, the majority of the population in the state
is in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Which is blue.
But there's only about 4 million people in the state of Louisiana and change. And you have enough on the outskirts of New Orleans in St. Tammany Parish.
Oh, yeah.
You have enough in
Jefferson.
those other areas that offset the voting in New Orleans. So guess what? Even if they wanted to rig it,
they
can't.
No.
They just can't. It's not believable.
Really 4 million people? I didn't know we were that many.
Yeah. We're 4 million. We're 4 million.
Okay, well,
just the New Orleans metro is roughly 2 million. Now, to give you an idea of what differential that looks like, the Houston metro is like 8 million.
Right. Yeah.
So we have 4 million in the state of Louisiana. The metro area of Houston is roughly double the size of the state of Louisiana population.
Houston's the fourth largest city in the U.S. I mean, it's
big
there. Oh, yeah. It's
But
you
it's
know
not- it's not LA.
New York, L.A., Chicago, Houston, in that order.
Oh, I thought Dallas was
No,
3.
it's coming. It's coming.
Dallas is up there.
Yeah, but it's coming.
Yeah, I've had to put rules in place when visiting family in Houston. It's like, okay, I'll come visit, but when you tell me, hey, let's go try this new place out, it had better be a 15-minute drive. Anything further than that's ridiculous.
So you're within a quarter of a mile of the house?
Oh yeah, same neighborhood.
Nothing's
Absolutely.
Because-
No, I've gone seen new restaurants. I drive 4 hours there, and then we immediately get in a vehicle and drive an hour and a half to go try out this restaurant. Anyway, ground rules before you go visit family.
When I go to Texas, like the best restaurant we eat is whatever we killed outside. We'll grill it outside as opposed to inside.
Absolutely
I mean,
agree.
You got to realize Houston is over 80 miles across the city limits. Yeah. It's longer than from here to Baton Rouge. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it's spread out.
The timing of all of this, though, the fact that, number one, to go back to the topic that we were on, which is
good job,
the secretaries of state from Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, on the exact same day. So, Renee, you know how you were talking about CBS, NBC, ABC all coming out with the exact same talking points?
Coordination.
Now you've got secretaries of state in multiple states that aren't neighboring states. Michigan and Wisconsin are. But
Republican and Democrat.
Which tells you, which to take us back to something we haven't talked about the show in a while, which is there are no Republicans, there are no Democrats. There's us and there's them. You can either side with them or you can side with us. And with us, you know that you are getting your implicit bias. Don't miss our live stream Implicit Ballots election night. Catch us live from not live from Mr. Lester's Steakhouse, but when we are at Mr. Lester's Steakhouse, make sure you find us on all of your social media platforms. You never know how you might just win tickets to Winner Implicit Dinner on November 16th. That you get to join us at Cypress Bayou Casino. Mr. Lester's Steakhouse. Cheers, and we hope to see you inside. Investments need protection. One of the best protections you can provide your vehicle is a ceramic coat on the paint. But who can afford that? You can. Jude Pelche at Pelche's Auto Detailing and Ceramic Coating can provide you with big city quality at a small town price. Jude is meticulous about making sure your car maintains its brand new appearance using the highest quality ceramic coating with handcrafted application. Pelche's Auto Detail and Ceramic Coating can deliver a one-of-a-kind, long-lasting look. Call Pelche's Auto Detailing and Ceramic Coating at 337-962-2849. That's Pelche's Auto Detailing, 337-962-2849. Drink Kacheri's Coffee, the official coffee of Implicit Bias. Available at La Creperie on Colley's Saloon, at the Rustic Renegade, Automotive Gear on Judson Walsh in Opelousas, and the Chill House, the dessert destination in Maurice. Kacheri's Coffee, the official coffee of Implicit Bias.
This is Moon Griffon for Coin and Treasure. 2472 West Congress. You know, my buddy Louis Pizzolata at Coin and Treasure is a truly great American businessman. If you're a coin collector, silver or gold bullion collector, Louis at Coin and Treasure will have something for you. Louis has over 40 years of experience in the coin business. Visit them at 2472 West Congress. Call them at 232-2573 or visit online at coinandtreasure.com. This is Moon Griffon. You can trust Coin and Treasure.
Dupree Carrier Godshaw provides insurance locally as well as nationwide. A full-service agency, Dupree Carrier Godshaw can take care of all of your needs, from personal auto, home, or business, group health, life, or investment products. Dupree Carrier Godshaw is a growing business and is currently hiring. Email resumes to charles.l@dcgagency.com. For all of your insurance needs, call Dupree Carrier Godshaw at 337-948-8186 or visit dcgagency.com.
Shop at Nunuz, a proud sponsor of Implicit Bias on KPEL. Nunuz is dedicated to providing excellent food, excellent drinks, and excellent service. Known for their specialty meats and superb liquor and beer selection, it's all here. Family run and family oriented, we know our customers by name and strive to deliver a great shopping experience to every customer every time. New News, now open in Youngsville, Milton, Maurice, and Scott.
Have an honest injury? Call an honest attorney. I'm Chris Castro of Castro Law Firm, and I handle a broad array of injury cases involving car, truck, motorcycle, and premises liability. I pride myself on personal service with a pragmatic approach. A legitimate attorney for a legitimate need. Castro Law Firm in Lafayette, Louisiana has been helping the hurting throughout the state of Louisiana since 1992. Call me at 337-984-7677 or visit my website, castro-firm.com. LSBA filing number 2416932.
Let your pictures say more than 1,000 words with us at Nouveau Photo. I'm Danny Izzo. Me and my wife, Mona, will help you preserve all your memories and pictures. At Nouveau Photo, we'll create beautiful portraits of your family, high school, college graduates, and even your pets. We can also offer group pictures for schools, churches, sports, communions, and confirmations. Let our family create memories for yours. Nouveau Photo. Find us online at nouveauphoto.com. That's NouveauPhoteau.com. Or call us at 337-233-1094. Nouveau Photo, for photos that last a lifetime.
This program has been paid for by Pipe Dream Entertainment.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studios. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Bill's largest on Iran in history. Former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris continuing to campaign in a razor-tight race.
The latest New York Times Santa College national poll shows former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris are tied at 48%. Trump's rally today is in Oakland County, Michigan, one of the state's most populated counties. He's hoping to drive up turnout there. Meantime, another big name, former First Lady Michelle Obama, is campaigning with Harris in Kalamazoo to mark the first day of statewide early voting in Michigan. Yesterday, celebrities including Jessica Alba, Willie Nelson, Kelly Rowland, and Beyonce joined Harris in Houston. Harris focused on abortion. She warned Trump would prohibit abortion nationwide, even though Trump has said he'd veto a national ban. Trump was also in Texas yesterday, where he hit Harris on immigration.
Fox's Madeline Rivera and the former president was also interviewed for nearly 3 hours on the Joe Rogan podcast, touching on several subjects, including assassination attempts, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Elon Musk. Vice President Harris passed on an interview with Rogan. America's listening to Fox News.
The world of business moves fast. Stay on top of it with the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday. Fox Business reporters, anchors, and hosts will bring you beneath the stock market speculation and boardroom drama to tell you about the biggest business stories of today. Whether you're on Main Street or Wall Street, Fox Business is invested in you.
Listen to the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday at foxbusinesspodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts. Interesting people are talking to Will Kane.
I said, what do I call you? I call you Dwayne. I call you The Rock. He said, now that I own it, I can call you The Rock.
Yes, I own it now. You can call me The Rock.
Our next guest needs no introduction. It is Dr. Jordan Peterson, my old friend and frenemy, Stephen A. Smith.
What is going on here? I see the Will Kane show in the background. I see the microphone.
Watch it live at noon Eastern, Monday through Thursday on foxnews.com. And get the podcast 5 days a week at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite.
News Talk 96.5, KPEL.
The following program is paid for by Magellan Financial.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.